Hey everyone, Kevin in Texas. You know, the great thing about the Age of Aquarius, there's many great things, but the great thing, in my eyes, is that it is an age of decentralization. It is an age where the institutions with which we interact have become more user friendly. And this is a deep contrast to the age we used to be in, the Piscean age or the age of Pisces. And these structures in the Piscean age were very much top down. Structures like government, religion, entertainment, money, all of them had a very top down approach where there was one person in charge or a few people in charge, and everyone else was beneath them. No one at the bottom really had a say in what was going on. But around 2019 or 2020, we entered this age of Aquarius. And one of the hallmarks of Aquarius is vast decentralization. And when we look at this list of institutions, we see an incredible amount of decentralization that has occurred and is occurring as we speak. Now, starting from the bottom up, think about money. Think of the incredible development of cryptocurrencies, of paying for goods and services without using a national currency. Incredible. Employment. Think of the decentralization of the workplace since 2019. These days, you do not have to go to an office building and sit for 9 or 10 hours a day to do your job. In many places of employment, you don't even have to go anywhere. You can work from home. You can work remotely. You can work from the beach. It doesn't matter. Incredible decentralization. Communication, probably the most extreme example of how things are user-friendly now. These days, if you have internet access, you can talk to anyone around the world at any time. Truly breathtaking. Entertainment, much the same. In the old days, it was waiting for the summer blockbuster to come to the movie theater or waiting for your TV show to come on. Nowadays, you can stream it whenever you want, or even better, create your own. Education, much the same. If you want a college degree, you don't have to go to an actual building. You don't have to go from classroom to classroom. You can do your work online and get your degree very quickly and efficiently. Religion, much the same way. Instead of having to go to a physical location, well, you can attend virtually. You can have a home church. You can have a faith of your own creation. And we see record numbers of people moving away from unipolar religions where one person is in charge of the entire faith. We're seeing individuals reclaim their power and say, you know what? The way I connect with the divine is my business, and I'm going to do it in a way that suits me. There's one structure, though, that has been extremely resistant to this Aquarian change. In fact, instead of decentralizing, this institution has gone the opposite direction. They have re-centralized and in many cases become straight up authoritarian. I'm talking, of course, about government. In the United States, in many countries of the West, and in several countries throughout the world, governments have become much more authoritarian in the past few years. Because national governments are just as aware of spirituality as you or me. They understand the way things are going, and they are fighting tooth and nail to maintain control. Now, generally speaking, there are 5 preferred methods that national governments use to maintain control over their people. In the United States, we're seeing all 5 of these being played out right now. Now, if you've been alive in the United States for the past couple of years, you understand that we are in a fear-based society. The news is non-stop fear pumping. We've been told that you need to be afraid of the air. You need to be afraid to breathe. That if you don't take experimental vaccines, you will fill up the hospitals and die. We've been told that your neighbor down the street who may vote differently or look differently or believe differently or love differently is a threat to your entire existence. We are in a fear-based society. That is not an accident. Because when you keep people afraid, they're much less likely to think for themselves. They're much less likely to take their power back. They're much more likely to rely upon a central government for answers. Along with fear, we have hatred. Never in my time on this planet have I seen so much hatred spewing forth from the mainstream media. If you vote differently, you're an enemy. If you believe differently, you're an enemy. If you love differently, you're an enemy. If you dislike this candidate, you're an enemy. It never stops, and it's getting worse. There's a reason for that. It's not just an accident. It's not just a way to sell advertisements. Fear and hatred are very low vibrations. And if you keep people in a low vibratory state, they're much less likely to question you. They're more likely to shut up and do as they're told. Now, this fear, this hatred has led to record numbers of division. I have never seen in the United States a more divided society. Divide and conquer is one of the oldest tricks in the book. If a government or a ruler can divide the people he or she wants to rule into little bitty units, they are far easier to control. And that is what's happening right now. Poverty is another means that national governments are using to prevent decentralization. Because if the people are so poor they can barely exist, who are they going to look to for help? The central government. It's not a coincidence we're being told now that we need to eat grasshoppers, we need to eat cockroaches, that we can't heat our homes in the winter, that we can't buy gasoline. Electricity costs are going to be 10 or 50 times higher. All of it is being used as a tool to maintain control. Finally, war. War is one of the most reliable techniques a government uses to maintain power. Because when a society is at war, that society gets more centralized. If you were around in the days of September 11th, 2001, every violation of civil rights and civil liberties was excused by the phrase, well, we're at war. Yeah, I know you don't like having your freedom of speech, taken away. We're at war. You don't like having your phone calls listened to. We're at war. You don't want to be groped at the airport. Too bad. We're at war. War is a great tactic used to maintain control and, more importantly, to maintain a centralized state. So what is the solution to this lone institution, this lone holdout to the Age of Aquarius? What do we do exactly with all this? I suggest 3 responses. Number 1, find alternative solutions. The government creates problems in order to bring forth solutions. Instead of listening to their solutions, I propose finding alternatives. And the way to do that is to talk to your neighbors. Get to know the people who live around you, because chances are they know a little something that you don't know. And you know a little something that they don't know. Working together with your neighbors is a great way to come up with alternative solutions to common problems. Number 2, do not comply. If there is a tyrannical edict or order or law that is attempted to be passed, do not comply at all. In the dark days of the pandemic, when government truly began to overreach its bounds, the people finally had enough. The people finally said, you know what? We're not doing this anymore. We're not wearing your masks. We're not taking your experimental drugs. We're not doing it. And shortly after the bulk of the people began to say that, lo and behold, the tyrannical edicts came to an end. So do not comply at all with any kind of tyranny. Number 3, vibe high. Turn off the garbage that comes on the mainstream media. Turn off all the crud you see on TV, internet, radio, whatever. Turn all of it off and focus on bettering yourself. So much of our culture today focuses on inadequacy. Well, you're not tall enough. You're not handsome enough. You're not pretty enough. Your boobs aren't big enough. You don't have enough hair. You're too old. You're too fat. You're too young. You're too white. You're not light-skinned enough. It's never good enough. Our entire society is based on inadequacy. I say flip that upside down. Learn to love who you are. And when you do that, loving other people becomes so much easier. My friends, the Age of Aquarius is an idea whose time has come. These institutions will decentralize. Governments will decentralize, whether they like it or not. It's just a matter of when. And the best way to make that happen quicker and to make our lives better is to vibe high. It's to love ourselves and begin to try and love one another. It's to not comply with tyranny. And it's to find alternative solutions to our problems. So often government creates the problem in order to bring forth the solution. I say it's time for us to come up with the solutions on our own. This is Kevin in Texas saying God bless each and every one of you. Keep up the good work out there. Keep the faith. Let's continue making this world a better one for our children and our children's children. Talk to you later. Bye.